Hey there. It's good to be back with you again. Well, I hope you're ready for something real fun. We're going to go right to the autumn. We're going to go right to around that Halloween season, that Thanksgiving season, and we're going to paint ourselves a nice little fall picture. Anyway, while I'm getting started here, all the names of the colors are going to be rolling across the screen for you so you know exactly what I'm using. And I always use the same set of colors because it makes it real easy to learn things. Now, we're going to go straight into a very familiar mix. I want a sky color. You know what I like to use for sky colors? I like to use a little bit of my phthalo blue, my quinacridone magenta, and mix those together to get a color that's somewhere around a middle blue, okay? So I'm going to use, my flat brush to wet the paper first. So let's make sure we get all the color off. My water bucket, I have 3 wells. I use 2 of them to rinse the brush off. I tap it on the edge of the off the bucket like that, and then I dip my brush finally in the water that I want to use for painting because it's nice and clean. And then I'll go all over here and I'll pick out some spots where I think the sky is going to be. And the sky's going to be kind of all over, and it's not going to be real big like it's been in some of our other scenes. It's going to be kind of small, all right? It's going to be a little small because we got a lot of stuff happening in the background here. So we're just going to hammer the sky in real quick here. Now, my flat brush is made of synthetic hairs, and what that means is it doesn't carry a lot of water, and so it doesn't carry a lot of paint. But my round brush, this brush here, is made with natural hairs, which means it carries a lot of water and it holds a lot of paint. Now, the big difference between synthetic and natural hairs is exactly what it sounds like. One is made from, animal hairs, and the other one is made from, polyester hairs and such. Anyway, we're just going to hammer in a few of these little sky areas that are poking through, and use our imagination, say, we'll say that's the way it looks. Okay? And maybe, this is about good. We don't really have to do anything to that. The color's so light that I don't think I even have to dab it down any. So we'll just leave it like that, right? And naturally, the paper is very absorbent. My paper is very absorbent, at least. I don't know how your paper is. So you got to pay special attention to what your paper's like, because your paper, it might not be as absorbent as mine. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if it isn't, go ahead and adjust accordingly. If it's absorbent like mine is, it's going to dry very fast. If it doesn't dry very fast, you might want to get out your tissue paper, your toilet paper. I just use cheap toilet paper to dry my paintings off, so it's really no big deal. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo green and some Nicolazo yellow. I'm going to make this a real yellowish green. Let me give you a look at my palette here. I can't dip it too hard because palette's a little wet and the colors drip. But you can see that I got 2 of my favorite colors in a well. Like I got quinacridone magenta and phthalo blue right there. And when I mix those together, I can just get a nice non-granulating violet or middle blue just by dipping my brush in the well and getting them. And I got all sorts of those mixes all throughout the palette here. But I've also got the single colors too, because sometimes I like to just use the single color. You never know. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wet the paper real fast. We're just going to get this a little cleaner because that's a little too colorful for what we're doing right now, okay? Sometimes that happens. If you accidentally get a little bit of paint left on your brush, just go ahead and wipe it off. It's not a big deal. Just keep going at it. Don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. Don't stop painting. No, you don't want to do that. You want to keep painting. You want to keep painting for as long as you possibly can. That's the ticket right there. The more you paint, the better your paintings are going to be. I don't know if you knew that, but you know now. Okay? Now I'm just going to wet all the areas where I think a little bit of this color is going to go. That's pretty much the gist of, that's the gist of watercolor painting right there. That's the gist of painting in general, especially in wet media. I like to paint wet and wet a lot. That's why I'm wetting the paper like this. And what wet and wet means, what it means, is that you're wetting the paper first and then putting the color down. And that creates the effect that makes it look so much like watercolor. Because the water starts going all over the place and creating all these nifty little gradations and stuff. So like back here, shh, just like that. And you look how that color is starting to just drip down, right? It just drips down, right? Yeah, it just drips down like that. Okay, I'm using my round brush here, but I could be using my flat brush. Truth be told, I probably should use my flat brush for this. Yeah, it's no big deal. We can go right into that after we're done putting this down. Here, let me lift this a little bit. I'm going to pull out a piece of my toilet paper, and I want to do this before it dries. If you let it go too long on absorbent paper without lifting it, ooh, it could be a little rough for you. It could be a little rough. Here, let me get out my other flat brush here, and I got it handled. Don't worry about me. Here, we'll just go into things like this, and okay, that's working a lot better. That's working a lot better. Yeah, that feels a lot better. Let's go ahead and use it that way. All right. So here we're just going to hammer in a few more of these colors. Again, we want to try to get them before they dry. And we're making pretty good progress, I'd say. Here, I'm just going to go into the same piece of toilet paper I had and lift that a little bit. There it goes. Here, let's get ready. Just pre-tear some things. You can do that. You can do it. I want you to remember about watercolor. There's no hard and fast rules about all the stuff you got to do and all that. No. Just like any other art, it's remember, it's an art, not a science. So pretty much anything goes when you're painting like this. You can make up new techniques, use old ones, whatever helps you get the job done. That's really the point of painting like this. You want to choose the technique that's going to get you where you need to go. All right, let's just lift a little bit of that. There that goes. And look at this. We're already at the point where we're just hammering in a little bit of grass here. Sometimes you gotta get a little bit of water in there because like I say, the paper is absorbent as all get out. So, sometimes things will get a little hairy down there. There's going to be a shadow down in here, but I'm going to paint this over anyway. Because you know what? Once I paint the complement over that, the shadow will be there. And it'll look so much nicer because I painted it with this color beforehand. Okay, now we've already got a base grass color. That was mighty easy, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll say. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to create, I'm making some big decisions now, I'll tell you. Well, that's part of what we do. That's part of what we do here. We make some big decisions. Okay, I'm going to clean off a little bit of my palette here because things are getting a little messy. And you know how it is. You got to clean things off occasionally. Okay. Now I've got a little bit of space here in the palette, which is exactly what I want. And I'll just toss that aside. That's no big deal. Here, I'm going to take my big old brush, my big old round brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my triad mix. What we have here is a triad mix. If you don't know what a triad mix, it's a mix of 3 different colors. So I'm going to take a little bit of quinacridone magenta, Nicolasso yellow, mix those together, right? Okay. So we got that. And then what we're looking for is kind of an orange. Just a nice earthy orange. And I'm not even going to really wet the paper beforehand. I just want this to dry very fast. I want this to dry super fast, okay? So I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to set a lot of this down like that. Yeah, that's how we do it. Okay. And, leave a little bit of space for all the trees and stuff like that, You know how it is. You know. You know. Here, I might want to lift a little bit of that. Just 'cause. Just 'cause. Yeah, you never know. Might want to go in with a sponge a little later and just accent a few things. Here, we'll go in maybe we'll get a little bit of yellow over here too into that mix, and then go over to this side and just get a little bit of this, and we'll throw it down here too. Yeah, there it goes. There it goes. And that's all we gotta do. That's all we gotta do. Notice how I apply colors. I paint colors a lot darker than a lot of times they finally appear, because it's easier to just throw it down and then lift a little of it up. And that way when we take a little off, we're left with a nice color that is just enough. Because one of the habits we have when painting with watercolors, is not going intense enough on things. I don't know if you knew that, but that's something that we do a lot. And that's something I try to avoid the best I can. And I don't always succeed. I always make my own sets of mistakes and all that. But, well, it's one of those cases where we say A for effort. Okay. I just want to get a couple more areas in here, like maybe down here. Yeah, that's probably about good. Now, when you paint the foundation of big masses like this, you're kind of just laying down one big old wash. And then what you do later is you take a little bit of a texture item like this, a piece of sponge, and then you go back in and you paint, say, I want to get a little bit more quinacridone magenta on some of these items. So here's what I'll do. Since this side over here is already dry, that's the benefit of having absorbent paper. It's a blessing and a curse, And I'll just go back in and yeah, and I'll just hammer in a few things down here. See? Now, because of what I've done there, look at that. We've already got some pretty respectable looking tree forms there. That's really all you gotta do with a thing like this, is you gotta go in with a little bit of a piece of natural sponge in here. I'm gonna move things along over on this side because we're spending a little too much time on some of these things. There. Here we go. There we go. And just like that. Look at that. We already got some nice looking tree forms over there. That's really all we gotta do. We don't have to stress ourselves out over it. We don't have to do any of that. No. It's so easy. It really is. It's so easy to do, and you can do it. You can do it if you just put your mind to it. And again, you start off with a form that's very basic like this. You start off with just a basic form. That's all you have to do. You hammer it in, okay? And we'll go over here and, yeah, get a little bit of this over here. Yeah, that's all we got to do. That's all we got to do. Here, tell you what, I'll get a little bit more yellow, and I'll go over to this side and hammer this in. I want to warn you, too, that you don't have to paint upright like this. This is, I joke a lot, this is a madman's way of painting right here. This is a crazy person's way of painting. You should not paint like this, by the way. You should not. The only reason I paint like this, here, let me lift a little bit of that color. The only reason I paint like this is so that you can see what I'm doing a little better while we're here on camera. Because it looks a little more presentable than me kind of just setting it flat on the table and doing it that way. That's the only reason. That's what makes this kind of crazy, but also it's a little fun. It's a little fun, isn't it? Yeah, I know it is. Here, let me take a little bit of, I don't know. I'm going to get a little bit of my phthalo blue, and I think I'm going to get some phthalo blue and Nicolazo yellow on this. I'm going to use a little bit more phthalo blue on this one, okay? And then we're just going to get, all this over here. That's all we got to do. Okay. All right. Yeah, maybe Yeah, that's about all there is to it. I keep telling you. I keep telling you. It is so much easier than you think it is. What we do with painting is we make it so much harder in our minds than it really needs to be. And you can make things a little harder if you want to. You can go ahead and drive yourself crazy with all kinds of different things. And tell you what I'll do while I'm waiting here. I'm going to just get a little bit of my, I'll get a little bit of my phthalo blue and my quinacridone magenta and mix those up. And then we'll just go ahead here and here. I want to get this blue over in here. Ooh, that's still a little green. That's still a little green. That's okay though. That's okay. Like I say, you don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. That's what this is. This is just small stuff. It's no big deal. Here, I'll paint his shoes the same color too. And this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna throw this blue down right here. Got ourselves a nice little transparent blue right there. Okay. Might want to take a little bit off the edge there. Just because there's some hay. There's some hay around him that I want to kind of capture. Okay. There it is. There we go. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. And we got his shoes now. Ideally, we want to try to paint things. We want to try to paint things in just a couple of different tones here. I'm going to lift a little bit of that. Here, look at that. Okay, we got a nice little color working for us right there. That's all we got to do. And now we got this dry up here, so let's go ahead and, ooh, here's what I can do with my sponge. I can dip it into my water bucket, squeeze it out, and I can put it in between a couple of pieces of teepee, my toilet paper, squeeze that dry. Okay, now I got that. And now let's go ahead and, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take some of the phthalo green over here. There. I'm going to get more of a middle green kind of color with my phthalo green and my nickel azo yellow. Alright? And then I'll dip this sponge right into it, and then we'll just pick out some spots over in here. There. That's it. That's it. That's really all there is. That's really all there is. And okay, and then we'll squeeze it out again. Put it in between the teepee, squeeze it out, and then we'll rinse our brush off. Add a little bit more of that phthalo blue, that color we had, because we don't need to overthink it, right? No. We don't need to overthink nothing. And we'll take our sponge, dip it into that color, and just. There it goes. Okay. There it goes. All right. Now look how spiffy. Look how spiffy things are looking. Boy. Boy. It didn't take hardly any time at all, did it? No, it surely didn't. It surely didn't. Here, let me go into the fabric right here on his legs, and let me see if I can find something with a little bit more violet on it. There it goes. Ooh, there's the color that we're looking for. Okay, now we're just going to paint over this ever so delicately. All right. Now, of course, we're going to, you guessed it. You know what's coming up. You know what's coming up. You know what's coming. We're going to lift that, just like that. And that way, we've got the highlight already done. It's very, very easy. Now we need to do the draw up on his head, don't I? Well, let me get a little bit of my nickel azo yellow into my quinacridone magenta mix. I want a lot of nickel azo yellow here. A lot of nickel azo yellow. And we want a little bit of, we want a little bit of that. We want a little bit of that ultramarine in there too. I'm using a triad mix. That means 3 colors. Triad means 3. I'm using nickel azo yellow. Let me see if you can get it right there. Okay. I'm using nickel azo yellow, quinacridone magenta, and ultramarine blue here. That's all I'm using. Okay? Very easy stuff. Very easy stuff. Okay, let's go ahead right here. Alright. So I'm gonna... Now he's got a hat up here, this Scarecrow. And we don't want to ruin that. So let's go ahead and keep it light. Now, I don't want it to dry. I really do not want this to dry. So let's be quick. Let's be quick. And get it. There. And boom, we've got instant hay. How you like that? It's not quite done yet, but at least we've got it. There it goes. Okay. Alright. There. I'd say things are looking pretty nice over on my end. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling great. Okay, let's go ahead and let's make sure we don't have any weird colors on our flat brush yet. Okay. I want to wet this area down here where all this hay is, right? Yeah, I want to wet all this. In fact, I'm going to go all the way down here too, because there's a lot of that hay that's kind of just spilling off. Because maybe this Scarecrow up here is getting all frustrated with his lot in life. He realized that, boy, I just want a heart, but here I am sitting here up on this hay pedestal. It's not even a pedestal, it's just like a auction block, kind of like a stand or something. Like someone's getting tired of his Scarecrow ways because he's not scarecrowing enough. Because he's made friends with the crows. The crows ain't that scared of him anymore. It turns out he's not that good a Scarecrow, he's just a friendly guy. But that means the farmer don't want nothing to do with him now. So he's got to go. And the Scarecrow's kind of just silently praying for a little bit of bravery so that he can scare some crows. He's the fraidy cat crow. The fraidy cat Scarecrow. You like that? Thought of that all by myself just now. So the Scarecrow, he's a chicken. You gotta hang with him. He'll fit right in. Okay. Let's go ahead and take our yellow color now, our yellow hay color. And we're going to go right up here, just like this. We're going to skip one spot right there, and we're going to go all the way down here. Okay. Alright, let's go up in here. In fact, let's go there too. Before I think of anything else, let's go ahead and lift that. Now we want to be fast. When you put down washes like this and you're planning on doing like multiple sets of glazes and everything, you want to work fast. You don't want to work slow. You don't want to take your time. You really want to hammer it in, because if you take your time, well, you want to be careful. Don't get me wrong, but you got to be fast. Because if you're not fast, oh boy, painting's going to catch up on you. And boy, it ain't going to be pretty. It's going to kick your butt. That's what it's going to do. Okay. There we go. There we go. Oh, we need a lot of tissue paper for this one. Got ourselves a feisty little section, don't we? Yeah, we do. Okay. It's all right. We got it. We got it. Don't stress yourself out. Just keep your head cool. Keep a cool head. Go in there. Lift what needs to be lifted. And you just want to get it real light like that. You want to get it real light. Because we're going to do multiple sets of glazes here. It's not going to be real complicated or anything. Okay? That's really all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Okay. Now I'm going to go into my quinacridone magenta again with the phthalo blue, alright? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. In fact, you know what I think I want to do? I want to go into my quinacridone magenta with my ultramarine. Because there's a color. There's a color I want. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep a flat brush on hand because I'm going to need it for this upcoming section. This upcoming thing I'm about to do. Alright. So let's go ahead. And let's take a little bit of our glass of yellow with the quinacridone magenta over this way. Let's go ahead and paint these little wooden boards over here, alright? There it goes. Okay, and I want to be sure to lift them immediately. Don't dilly-dally. I know. It's hard. It's hard to go ahead and just do these things, you know. But there's going to be a little rim of light on top of these things. And you can't play around with them. You can't play around hardly at all. You got to get in there, do what you need to do, and then quickly get out. All right? So that's, I just got in. Now it's time to get out. Here we go. Okay. Keep it light. Keep it light. We will paint these things a little darker. We will. We will. I promise. I promise. We will. But you have to keep it light first. Because you have to paint the light in watercolor. You have to paint the light before you show the darkness. If you try to show the darkness first, oh boy, you're going to be in trouble. Believe you me. You will not like your painting then. Okay, so we're going to kind of freestyle a little bit here. Okay. Because all these things are getting a little closer together over in the background. All these slats back here. Okay. Yeah, all these little slats back here are starting to get a little closer together. So we're not going to see as much of them. There's going to be a lot less detail. Remember, the farther away things are in your painting, the less detail you're really going to see from them. So over here in the distance, you're not going to see hardly anything at all. No, not hardly anything. And then, of course, be sure you lift all these little bits and pieces back here, okay? All right, that's really all there is to that. Now, let me make sure I don't have any paint on my other flat brush here. I'm going to go into my ultramarine and quinacridone magenta mix, and I want about an even mix, just a little bit more of that ultramarine. Well, actually, I may have a little bit more of the quinacridone magenta, right? Yeah. And when I do this, look how I'm painting. You can paint it a couple different ways, but what I'm doing is I'm just pressing down with the edge of my flat brush pressed so that it creates this pretty even looking shape across the fence. And this is the way I want to do it. This is the way I want to do it. When it dries, it's going to look a little bit dark right now, but after we get the rest of the painting set down, it'll look a little bit more natural, I think. Now, there's a reason I'm using the ultramarine over the phthalo blue here. The thing about watercolor is that watercolors have different textures, right? And what I mean by that is that different pigments have different textures in watercolors, and pigments are the things that color your paints. So when you look at a tube of like ultramarine, well, there's a pigment called ultramarine that colors your paint. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you knew that. But there's a pigment that colors your paint, the color ultramarine, which is the color of the pigment. And a lot of times, artists just call colors by the color of the pigment. Here's a little rim of yellow up here around this Scarecrow's hat that I want to get there. There it goes. Doesn't need to be too bright, that one, but I wanted to get it a little bit. Now that pigment can be either granulated, I guess I'll say, or it can be non-granulating, which is what phthalo blue is. Ultramarine granulates, so it creates this texture that looks like stones and a texture of skin and all kinds of different little things in nature like that. So it creates that fascinating look about it that you really can't get any other way, right? Okay, let's go ahead and get his gloves right here. Okay. And we'll go in right here and get his other gloves. Okay. All right. Just a little bit less there. I know, I always try to take the two-tone approach to this sort of thing. All right now. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead now. And I'm seized by a little bit of inspiration, I think. Ooh. I think I missed a spot earlier with my hay. Okay. That's good enough. I don't have to go too crazy with it. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of our... let me get about an even amount of our phthalo green and our nickel azo yellow here, because I'm going to create some very simple grass by splaying my bristles like this, okay? In fact, I want to splay them as much as I can. There. All right. Now, every so often, you want to stop, go in, and maybe you want to lift things up a little bit. I don't know. Here's what I can do. I might have waited a little long. If I waited a little long, I can go in and I can take a little bit of the edge off by going in there and doing this. All right. Okay. I go in and I take a little bit of the edge off just by doing that. All right. And now I can go back in. And this is kind of a dry brush technique, what I'm doing here. With this technique, we're just going in and kind of just scraping at a few things. And you don't want to wait real long. You don't want to wait real long to go in and lift a little bit of paint. In fact, the thing of this is, a lot of times when you do it, it can be real hectic because the paper is very, very absorbent. It's even more hectic when you're painting upright like this, where, you know, the madman's way of painting. But, you know, you'll work with what you got. And here, helps to immediately do it. There it goes. Go up in here. Immediately get that. Okay. All right. There. Now we'll go in here. Okay, I'll go in here. A lot of times when you start to get really into things, when you start to get really into your painting, ooh boy, things just kind of fly by. You don't take a lot of notice. All right. There it goes. There it goes. Now let's go back in to our triad mix here and take a look at some of this hay. All right. I'm going to get a little bit more of my quinacridone magenta with some of my nickel azo yellow. All right. And I'm kind of just going to do this. All right. All right. And then over in here. We're just going to have a lot of different hay things kind of going all over the place here. All right. Have fun with it, you know. Splay the bristles out, because that's how we do this little dry brush technique like this. All right. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. And now we just kind of, you know, fill in a few of the blanks if there's any. And, you know, we let the chips fall where they may now. Maybe I'll go in and just add a couple things here and there. Not too much, because we want to let things just be relatively calm there. Here. I'm going to take this mix of pyrrole orange and phthalo blue. I'm going to go along the hat here. Okay. Yeah, that's how we do it. Okay, I've already got that down. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So let's go into, ooh, I think I'm going to get some pyrrole orange and nickel azo yellow now. And I'm going to take my my big old round here. Get some of those colors there. And we'll just paint these bad boys right like this. I keep telling you guys to try to keep things light. Try to keep things light, and then I go and paint something like this, and boy, it seems like I'm giving mixed messages, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe a little. Maybe a little. Okay. I'll go over here, paint this bad boy right here. And we got one more pumpkin right here. Ooh, I think things are starting to shape up. I got a good feeling about this painting. I got a decent feeling about it. Maybe a good feeling is a little premature, but I got a decent feeling about it. Okay, let's go over here now and paint some of the little things going on with his pants. Because maybe he's got some things going on over here, and maybe he's got a couple of things going on over here. Maybe he's got some folds happening right there, and one kind of sneaking down over here, and I don't know, maybe one right here, and yeah, before you know it, things are kind of just happening, huh? Yeah, it's pretty slick. Here, let's get his hands. His palms are kind of draped in shadow over here and right there. And boom, look at that. We've already got ourselves a nice little, some nice pants on. All right. So let's take some phthalo blue now. Take some phthalo blue and some quinacridone magenta. And, ooh. Yeah, I think we got enough color right there. So now let's take this and we'll... Yeah, here's where it's going to get a little hairy maybe. Okay. All right. And we'll just paint this like this. There. Give it a little bit of a flavor like that. Here. Let's try to lift some of that. We don't need to lift a lot of it, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. There it goes. There it goes. That's how you know we're on the right track. When things start to look a little bit more natural here, let's maybe get a little bit more quinacridone magenta on this. And maybe let's go in here. Okay. Okay. Now we've got something. Yeah, we've got something. Let's go into his arms. And now let's paint full down here. Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. There it goes. And sometimes it takes a couple of passes with your color to make it really work. Like right now, I'm gonna make another pass. I'm gonna make another pass with his shoes over here and get these. Okay. Yeah, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. Here, let me get my smaller round. This is one made with natural hairs. And again, you know, there's not a lot of difference between it and the bigger brush. It's just a smaller version with natural hairs, of course. And I like it that way. I like it that way. All right, so here's where we kind of just hammer in a few of the shades. Because guess what? Guess what? There's a little bit of shadow on this bad boy here. Yeah, there's a little bit of shadow. And we got to be real sneaky about the way we put it in. Because we don't want to get too much color all up in this. No, no, no. Okay, that's about good enough. I think we about got that one. In fact, we might be able to take just a little bit off right here. Okay, that's good. That's good. I was trying to get a little bit more off of that than I was able to, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, baby. You just gotta let it happen. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of I'm using my triad mix again with the ultramarine and such, and I'm kind of just kind of just gonna plow through this little section right here and get a little bit of darkness on some of these bits. All right, just like that. Okay. All right. Okay, now we'll just we'll go ahead and here just throw down a few things. I mean, we'll throw down whatever. It's whatever over there. That's fine. That's fine. Let me get my smaller round again. Get a little bit more of that pie roll with the nickel azo yellow. I'm gonna just go over here. Okay, that's about good, I think. And we'll go over here too. Yeah, it's about good. Throw down a little something over here. Perfect. That's about all we need to do with that. Now. Ooh, I almost forgot something. I forgot to really get some of the dark colors over here next to our friend, the Scarecrow, the Frady Scarecrow. The Scarecrow is a little scared. He's scared. You know what? I bet he's scared of his own shadow over here. I bet he's terrified. He's probably just looking at this thing wishing, would you just get done with this already? I'm tired of looking at my shadow down there. It's bad enough the crows want to come by here and make fun of me, but now you gotta bring it home. You gotta take me and make fun of me. You're mean. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Scarecrow, but we like to have some fun here. We like to have some fun, and don't let anyone tell you different. We like to have some fun, and, well, I guess if you ain't having fun with us, then that's too bad, because we sure do like being around you. Here, I'm just going to give this hat a little outline up here. And look at that. Look at that. Okay. That's really all there is. That's all there is. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a little bit more of my quinacridone magenta and nickel azo yellow. Lots of nickel azo yellow here. Nickel azo yellow. Get lots of it. Lots of it. Yeah, be careful with the nickel azo yellow and the quinacridone magenta, because the quinacridone magenta tends to overpower everything. I don't know if you knew that, but it truly does. Okay. I got some ultramarine in here now, so that should take it down a notch a little bit. Alright. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take this and drag it down. All that hay right there. All that hay right here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There it goes. There it goes. Oh, it's funny how things work like that. It truly is. Okay. Let me look at my brushes here. Okay, this one I just used. So we'll set that down. What I want is a little bit of ultramarine and the nickel azo yellow. I want a little bit more ultramarine on this. Okay. I'm just going to get it right here. It'll go right under here. So we'll pretend that's what he's attached to. That is the cause of his discontent. Now let me get my liner brush out, because we got some things we got to do here. I got some things I need to say real quick. Let me get a little bit more of my ultramarine, because I want some texture on this. Because you know what? Trees have lots of bark on them, right? Of course they do. They have lots of bark. And so they're going to have that kind of appearance to them. Let's just get a little bit of a color here. And I want it to be kind of wet. Which just might be easier said than done with a brush like this, but we'll give it a try here. Okay. There it goes. Okay. All right. And, you know, you have lots of little things shooting off of it like this. Why not? Why not? Here, we'll go in here. Just have a couple more over here. Okay. Maybe we'll have another back here. Got all kinds of little things just kind of happening, you know? All right. There. Okay. These are just the final marks of our piece today. A lot of these little marks here, not a lot of people are really going to look at too much. They're going to be looking more at the Scarecrow. So you don't have to hammer it home too hard. You just kind of want to get it in there, right? Right. You just want to get it in there. And then you can move on. I mean, you can spend a lot of time on it if you want, and you know, drive yourself a little crazy and all that, but we don't necessarily have a lot of time to do that today. Here, I can go right in here. There's one thing I wish about this brush. I wish it carried a little bit more water so I could do this a little bit more easily. I wish it carried a little bit more water, because these synthetic hairs, they just don't cut it. But I make it work. Okay. That's about enough, I think. That's about enough. Here, maybe we can go in here and kind of just insert a few more things before we head out. There. I make them pop all over the place because, you know how it is with the hay like this. Kind of just goes wherever. It really does. It just goes wherever. Okay. And maybe down in here. Okay. Alright, I think we got ourselves some acceptable hay there. Well, now it comes the point where we go into our thick red color, which we only use to sign our name. I'm going to sign my name S. Okay. And that means the painting's finished. You can sign your name any way you want. You can sign your whole name, your first name, last name, different name. Doesn't matter. And with that, my friends, I believe that marks the end of this painting. I really hope you had a lot of fun with this one. Our scared Scarecrow, the fraidy cat who's scared of his own shadow and even more scared of the crows. He just needs a little bit of bravery to get ahead. And I hope this poor guy gets it. Anyway, my friend, I will see you again real soon. And until then, with love from me to you, bye-bye.